students, after understanding about the design of irrigation channels, basically canals, right? Now it's time to understand about the gravity dams and spillways. It's a very short topic actually. So most of the theoretical questions are coming from this topic, that is the gravity dam and spillways, right? Some numericals have also been asked in GATE examination based on this thing which I'll be explaining, right? So what is a gravity dam? So you can see a type of dam which is stable just due to its weight, right? Which is a very heavy structure, it is stable due to its weight, is known as a gravity dam. Clear? So let us say this is a gravity dam. This is the upstream side, this is the downstream side. This is the upstream water level, this is the downstream water level, right? We have a heel, we have a toe, right? We have a crest also. We don't have to go in detail in that, okay? Because we do in GATE examination, we don't have to do the design. But we must know the aspects of designing, that what should be taken into consideration while designing a gravity dam, right? Okay, so now first of all let us discuss about the types of forces that are actually acting on a gravity dam, right? The first type of force is water pressure. So you have water here, you have water here. So this water will be exerting some pressure over it. It is the same type of pressure which you must have studied in your fluid mechanics also. The force is acting on a you can say on a dam, right? In the fluid mechanics also there is a chapter. Okay, in a dam, what type of forces are acting at what force the dam's gate will open. These types of numericals in fluid mechanics, right? So it will be acting, and here it will be like this, right? And here the pressure would be like this, like this. Clear? Okay. Now water pressure, if you determine water pressure at this side, that is the upstream side, it will be equal to half into base. So you know that water, this base, this is actually equal to gamma W into H, right? Half into base into height, this is height is H, right? Half into base into height, right? That is half of gamma W into H square. This is important. Questions have been asked from this, right? And where it will be acting? It will be acting at the centroid. So centroid is at a distance of h by 3 from bottom and 2h by 3 from top. You know that, right? So it will be acting at a distance of h by 3. Same goes with the downstream side also. So P dash will be equal to half into gamma W into H dash square, right? This is H dash, clear? Where it will be acting at a distance of H dash by 3 from the bottom, right? Okay. So this will be the force which will be acting, okay? Now coming to the uplift pressure. Now you know that there will be seepage, which we have already discussed, right? There will be seepage. So this, due to the seepage, there will be upward forces acting on the dam, right? And these upward forces will be counteracted by the weight of the dam, right? So if you draw the profile, if you do not provide any drainage, or you can say that you are not providing any drainage gallery, then it has been found that here it will be gamma W into H. If at the downstream level we have water, then it will be gamma W into H dash. If there is no water, it will be zero, to a triangular shape, right? But since there is water, so it is a trapezoidal shape, right? And to determine the force acting somewhere, there will be some force acting. We have to calculate the area of this trapezoidal, right? And we can also calculate the center of this trapezoid. That will be the force, the center of force where that particular force will be acting. The pressure force will be acting. Okay. Now, if we are providing drainage gallery, now the question is, why do we provide drainage gallery? So the answer is, the students, for the maintenance purpose of this gravity dam, we provide the drainage gallery also for the maintenance purpose, right? So the same thing is there. So what is happening is that if you are providing drainage gallery, the upward pressure it decreases actually, right? It decreases. Why? Because water will also go here, water will also go here, right? Then it will decrease. Okay. Now how much it decreases? So it has been found by experiments that if you want to calculate the pressure here, so what you have to do? Gamma W into H dash, that's it, this much of value, and plus 1/3 of this much of value, right? So it will be gamma W into H dash. How much this value will be equal to? So this value will be equal to gamma W into H minus gamma W into H. This will get this value, right? So 1/3 of this value you will add it, right? So you will add 1/3 of this value to get the value of Px. So Px is actually equal to gamma W into H dash plus 1/3 of the difference between the two. Clear? Other types of forces are also acting. Earthquake forces are acting, right? If you're calculating earthquake forces, what we have to do is that we have to calculate the acceleration, because you know that earthquake is actually like this. It comes like this. Earthquake wave is like this, right? So what will happen? If suppose that we have a dam, so there will be upward acceleration, downward acceleration, horizontal acceleration, right? So we have to calculate the horizontal acceleration also. We have to calculate the vertical acceleration also in terms of g. In terms of g. Clear? So that is not important as far as the gate point of view is concerned. We also have the silt pressure. Now, for example, you know that there will be water pocket just near the dam, right? So due to this water pocket, there will be siltation here, and this silt will be acting, will be you can say providing some pressure over the gravity dam, right? So the siltation will also be there, right? We have a wave pressure also. So here we have waves because due to blowing air in atmosphere, we will have wave effect also. These waves will also have some effect on the dam. Okay. Now let us understand about the modes of failure. So in how many ways a dam can fail. So for example, these forces are very high. If these forces are very high, this dam can overturn. This dam can overturn. And what is the resisting force? Resisting force is the weight of the dam. Clear? Okay. So I can say that if you it can fail in overturning, and the factor of safety will be equal to summation of moment of resistance, and that moment of resistance will be due to the weight of the gravity dam divided by the overturning moment, right? Overturning moment can be due to this water, can be due to the earthquake, can be due to anything. Okay. Now it can fail due to compression or crushing. If the weight of the dam is very high, it can fail in compression or crushing, right? And you know that the total stresses are given by the bending stresses plus the direct stresses. I have told you each and everything, right? I am just recapitulating each and everything, right? That is summation of V by B 1 plus minus 6 E by B. The answer is, so the question is, why there is no width of the dam? Because it is actually taken as 1 unit. If you take the width of dam as 1 unit, you will get this expression, right? Now for the no tension, if you put it equal to 0 for no tension, your BE will come out to be B by 6. You know all these things, right? BE will come out to be B by 6, right? Now it can also fail by sliding. If the horizontal forces are very high, this dam, it can slide, right? So on which factor does it depend? It will not slide. It will depend upon the coefficient of friction. And you know that this is a body, right? This is a body. This is the weight of the body. So you can say that to overcome the frictional stresses, so mu into W has to be crossed, right? If the horizontal force has crossed mu into W, it will move, otherwise it will not move, right? So similarly, the factor of safety will be given by mu into summation of V. Summation of V will be the summation of the vertical forces divided by the summation of horizontal forces. Summation of horizontal forces, right? Okay. Now this is also important. Questions have been asked directly from this topic, width of the dam. How much the dam should be width? How much should be the width of the dam, right? So if the reservoir is full, if the reservoir is of full capacity, because actually we are designing a reservoir for its full capacity, right? If the reservoir is full, then the width, maximum width of the dam is actually the maximum of H divided by under root G minus C. Because you have to ultimately remember these formulas. I can't do anything in that, right? Okay. And or H divided by mu times of G minus C. This is not under root, only G minus, right? What is C? C is the upward uplift pressure coefficient. This will be given to you in questions. So I hope that you have understood about everything about the gravity dam. Now let's go to the spillways. I'm going very fast in this topic because everything is theoretical. Everything is theoretical, right? Okay. Now let us understand about the spillways. Now let me rub this. Now what are spillways? Let us say that you have a gravity dam, or you can have a weir, right? Or let us say barrage. If the water level is very high, then to you can say to divert the surplus water, we construct some, you can say, water structures, and those water structures are known as spillways, right? So what they actually do is that they spill over the additional or the surplus water. Okay, so they spill over the additional or surplus water. Let us say that this is a dam. Let us this is a weir. Let us this is a weir. This is a side view of weir. So this is the upstream, right? So what will happen is that when the water level will rise, so after some time it will fall. So what do we do is that in the downstream side we make some profiles. We make some profiles for the discharge of this excess water, and these structures are known as spillways. Spillways. So what is important in this topic? Spillways. The types of spillways is important, right? So types of spillways. So first one is we have the Ogee spillway. Ogee spillway. Ogee is a type of shape. Ogee spillway. So this what I have drawn is actually the Ogee spillway. So water will go Water will go up and after some time it will fall. So it has a parabolic shape. It has a parabolic shape, and this is my weir. This is my weir. Actually, it is a sharp crested weir, but it's a weir, right? So Ogi spillway is this, right? Okay. Now, sometimes questions are asked about the discharge of Ogi spill. So how much the discharge will be? So discharge in a Ogi spillway is given by C. That is the coefficient of discharge. That is CD. You can also say coefficient of discharge into LE. What is LE? LE is the effective length of the crest. So this is the crest of the spillway. So we have to calculate the effective length of the crest that will be generally given to us in question, right? Effective length of the spillway multiplied by effective head raised to the power 3 by 2. Effective head raised to the power 3 by 2, and this effective head is actually equal to design head plus velocity head Clear? This is how the discharge of Ogi spillway is given. The second type of spillway is known as the chute spillway, right? Chute spillway. Why chute spillway? Because actually it has a shooting flow. What is a shooting flow? That is a supercritical flow, right? So a chute spillway, what is happening is that the direction of spillover water is perpendicular to the crest of the weir. Perpendicular to crest of weir. Right? So it is actually this water flow is actually perpendicular to crest of the weir. So we have a chute spillway like this. So it is actually very downfall, right? Because we have to maintain the supercritical flow. It has supercritical flow. It has supercritical flow. Yeah, it has supercritical flow. The third type of spillway is known as the side channel spillway. The third type of spillway is known as a side channel spillway. Side channel spillway, right? So we have a crest like this. This is the crest of the weir. I'm talking about the top view, right? So we have a spillway here. Right? So there's the water coming. Okay, so we have a spillway here. Okay, so actually the water is actually spilling parallel to the crest of the weir, right? So in side channel spillway, the spill water is parallel to crest of weir. Whatever I am writing, these questions have already been asked in other examinations, right? So spillover water is parallel, spillover water is perpendicular, right? Okay. Now the next type of spillway, the last type of spillway is known as the shaft spillway. The questions which have been asked in examination is that the shaft spillway is used in which condition? So when you have a very narrow area, for narrow area. So what we do is that we have some shafts, and from those shafts, the water is actually spilled to some other place, right? So these are known as the shaft spillways, right? So questions have been asked that for narrow area, which type of spillway is used? Ogi spillway, chute spillway, side channel spillway, shaft spillway. The correct answer is shaft spillway. Yeah. So I hope that you have understood about the gravity dams as well as spillways. Now let's move forward to the last topic. In the last, that is also a theoretical topic, that is about the cross drainage works, right? So cross drainage works you must have remembered when we are talking about the contour canals, the watershed canals. I told you that in watershed canal no cross drainage work is required. So what are those cross drainage works actually? So let us understand about the cross drainage works. Thank you.